always true.
We ask the questions.
What is needed in the world?
Is that going to
Pervez Musharraf returned to Pakistan after 4 years of self-imposed exile abroad to, in his own words, save the country. But his hopes of a political comeback were quickly dashed. The former military ruler, who came into power in a 1999 coup, was barred by the courts from holding government office for life. Not only was he not allowed to run in May's historic general election, a number of criminal cases were also opened against him, stemming from the 9 years he was in power. The charges include allegations he was involved in the assassination of Benazir Bhutto, the former prime minister who came back to Pakistan in 2007 after making a deal with Musharraf to contest in upcoming elections. Weeks later, she was dead. In all, Musharraf has spent more than 7 months under house arrest, but in November he was freed on bail in all the criminal cases he's named in. Still, the most serious charge facing the former military ruler is treason. The case stems from the state of emergency he imposed in 2007. During that time, he suspended the Constitution and detained several judges, including the Chief Justice, sparking widespread protests. If convicted, Musharraf faces life in prison or death. The charges were brought against him by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, the same man he ousted in a military coup in 1999 and who was re-elected to a third term in office in May. In his first interview with an international news channel since his release from house arrest, Pervez Musharraf talks to Al Jazeera about his time in power, his current problems, and his future.
I want to start with you about your return to Pakistan in March. You came back, in your own words, to save Pakistan. But over these past several months, it's been a very trying time for yourself, several court cases you've been involved in. In many ways, your struggle has been to save yourself. Do you regret coming back to Pakistan?
No, I don't. I don't regret at all, because I didn't come for myself. I came for Pakistan and for the people of Pakistan, because I saw this country going down after 2008. I mean, I saw where we had taken the country in 2007 in our 9 years, from getting them from a failed state to putting them in the ranks of the next 11 countries of the world, and then again sliding down. So I thought we owe it to our country to do something. I thought I must join the political fray, and it was through the political democratic process I thought we must bring about a change. So I came for that, but unfortunately, because of whatever happened to me, what I expected to deliver could not happen, unfortunately. But I don't regret it, because I still believe that a change must be brought about in Pakistan for the good of Pakistan and its people.
You say you don't regret returning, but you have been through an awful lot. You've been arrested, you've been dragged through several courts, you've been placed under house arrest for over 7 months. For a man who was arguably once the most powerful person in Pakistan, it must be a very difficult time for you, or even a very embarrassing time for you.
Well, if one looks at it from a personal angle, yes, you're right. But I mean, having been at the helm of affairs for 9 years, and knowing that this country has tremendous potential and the resources to do well, stand on its own and progress, I personally believe that I rose above self. My thought process is beyond self. It is to do with the country and the people, as I said. Therefore, if you see it from the country and the people's point of view, it's a definitely, you have to take risks, you have to face hardships, and a country like Pakistan, where in the political arena there is definitely a tendency towards vendetta and vindictive politics, unfortunately. So one has to face it. Either you have a cause, then for that cause you have to face problems. If you're not prepared to face those problems, then leave the cause, and I'm afraid then you're not a leader then. A leader has to face problems.
You are facing considerable problems. You have been named in a number of criminal cases. One of those cases revolves around the assassination of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. She was killed while campaigning ahead of the 2008 elections. And you have the allegations are that you are somehow complicit in her death. Are you involved in the killing, or were you involved in the killing of Benazir Bhutto?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Unfortunately, these cases are all politicized cases. You're talking of one of them, obviously, Benazir Bhutto case. Now, I was here. She got killed, unfortunately, in December 2007. I was here till president till August 2008. And then I continued to be here in Pakistan till April 2009. No case was initiated. There was an inquiry, a JIT, Joint Investigation Team, which inquired, and my name was not there at all. My name comes up later on in 2009, where the new government rejects the old JIT and puts another joint investigation team in place with political motives, and they drag my name into it. So it's a politicized vendetta, it's a politicized case, totally politicized. And if you go into the details of what happened at that time, I mean, what I am accused of is not giving her security. But nobody realizes that she came to the venue, stood there for about 2 hours, addressed the public, went out, waved to everyone through a huge crowd, sat in a bomb-proof vehicle, and she's safe. And she gets out of that bomb-proof vehicle through the hatch, and she gets killed. The people inside, important people like Makhdoom Amin Fahim and Nahid Khan, they were sitting inside, they are all safe. Now, did I or security people tell her to get out of the hatch? Wasn't security not there? She was secure for 3 hours, and she got into a secure vehicle. So these things, now who told her to get out is the question. There are a lot of implications of that. Her telephone was missing for 2 hours because there were calls when she was there. Then, anyway, it's a long story. But the short answer is, certainly I'm not involved.
Still, if you look at a UN investigation into her assassination, it found that your government failed to provide her with adequate security. Her party, her camp, made repeated requests for more security. Does any part of you wish you did provide her with more security?
Again, I would say the UN report, I mean, security I proved it that the security was there. She was secure. Did the security personnel tell her to get out? No, she got out on her own. The security people did their job. And moreover, may I say, her security was taken over by her own party. They call them Jialas, the followers, the People's Party cadre. They took over. I mean, the person who was in charge was later on the Interior Minister. He was overall in charge. They detailed the inner cordon was taken over entirely by the People's Party people, beyond the security that was provided. So these are absolutely wrong allegations. Moreover, the UN report, I mean, how do they accuse me? Don't they know the functioning of Pakistan? Is the President of Pakistan responsibility to provide security to anyone? There's a government, first of all, functioning. The government, the chief executive, this is a parliamentary system. The Prime Minister is head of the government. The Interior Minister comes under the Prime Minister. So how does the President get involved in security? How do was it my responsibility to ensure security for Benazir? I mean, this is all ridiculous.
The other case you're involved in is what's described as the Red Mosque siege, in which, and to give our viewers a bit of background about this case they may not be familiar about, a senior religious leader effectively was calling for the violent overthrow of the government in Islamabad. He had many supporters, and they had barricaded themselves inside the Red Mosque in the capital. For over a week, security forces had clashed with these seminary students, and it was ordered by your government to carry out an operation to end the siege. By the end of that operation, over 100 people were dead. Do you have any regrets about that operation in which so many people died?
Firstly, when you're also saying that my government, it's the government which took action, and the government is headed by the Prime Minister. So, but however, I am not saying that he did a wrong thing. No, not at all. The writ of the government was challenged, and they took the right action. Now, people over 100, it was 94 terrorists, and about 13 or 14 of our own military men who were killed, and police. Now, the issue was challenging the writ of the government by these people who were inside. Initially, there were about 5,000, 2,000 women and about 2,500, 3,000 men. They were all taken out from there. Efforts were made for over 4 or 5 months to get them out gradually, to convince them to leave and stop this challenging the writ of the government in the heart of Pakistan, one kilometer from the diplomatic enclave. But finally, the people who remained were the hardcore terrorists who were there. Unfortunately, it has been blown up into a lot of women and children killed. All nonsense, all wrong, all lies. That is the unfortunate reality, that there was no woman or child killed. There were 94 of those terrorists who were killed. That is the unfortunate reality.
The most serious charge you're facing is one of treason. It stems from a 2007 decision by you to detain a number of judges, including the Chief Justice, Mohammed Iftikhar Chowdhury, after you had declared an emergency and had suspended the Constitution. When you look back at your actions of 2007, do you agree that they were treasonous?
First of all, it is absolutely wrong that any judge was detained, including Iftikhar Mohammed Chowdhury. This is absolutely baseless allegation. Again, it's the government which does that and not the President of Pakistan. But however, let me say that they were never detained. In fact, the new judges that had come into the Supreme Court, they wanted the houses to be vacated. They wanted them to leave. So there is no question of they being detained. This is a case which has been put into courts against me again by an individual who's a lawyer who's not involved, not concerned actually by the remotest thought with the case. And he did that 3 years after this is the ridiculous part of what is happening here against me. But it's absolutely baseless. But however, coming back again to the issue of the emergency, imposition of the emergency, well, yes, that emergency, we should know that how the action took place. Firstly, there was a confrontation, there was a standoff between a very activist Chief Justice and the government. So an action was initiated by the government asking me to resolve this problem, which was leading to increase in terrorism and extremism, misgovernance or the collapse of governance because of that. And then I consulted everyone before taking action, all the stakeholders. Having taken the action, it was ratified validated by the Chief Justice, by the Supreme Court. It was approved by the Cabinet. A resolution was passed in the Assembly in favor of it. Then may I also add, during the emergency, a new Chief of Staff was appointed by me. I removed my uniform. And then, having done that, elections were held. And I removed the emergency in 1 month and 13 days during this period. Elections were held. And after the elections, I gave oath to the new Prime Minister and the new Cabinet, including members of the PMLN. So where is the treason? Where is the treason? All this has happened during this period of 2 or 3 months.
Still, this charge must worry you. When you consider the penalties, life in prison, the death sentence, this must concern you at least a little bit.
Yes, of course, it does concern me. But I'm going to face it. And one has to face, as I said, the cause is more exalted than self, which I came for, and I still pursue.
Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is a man you know well. It's fair to say you have a fairly bitter history. You ousted him in a military coup in 1999.
He ousted me first.
Okay.
In the air, when I was not in contact with anyone.
Still, your history, of course, is very difficult. In 2013, he became prime minister again for a historic third term. His government is pursuing these treason charges against you. Given your history with this man, do you believe that you can have a fair trial?
Well, if he was the judge, I would say that it won't be fair. But he is in government, he can influence. Till now, he is showing vendetta. I expect justice from the courts. Till now, whatever has been happening, I certainly am not very satisfied. But one presumes that when this case comes up, justice will be done. And ultimately, it is the Supreme Court which goes in. And I am very glad that there is a new environment in the Supreme Court, and one expects justice.
You say Nawaz Sharif has a vendetta against you. Explain that to me.
Well, all the actions, I think he is being vindictive, certainly. In the background, all that is happening, either it was being done by him or the ex-Chief Justice. They were both being vindictive. If you see all the cases that you are talking of, Benazir case, Bhutto case, judge's detention case, Lal Masjid case, now this Article 6, all of them smack of injustice and some force behind the scene influencing justice.
And you trace that force back to the Prime Minister's house?
Possibly, yes.
One of the core irritants currently between Washington and Islamabad is drone strikes. You've said in past interviews, and I quote, that you permitted a few drone strikes in the final years that you were in power. Given how the drone program has expanded dramatically in recent years, do you regret permitting those initial drone strikes?
No, I never permitted drone strikes. I've said that many times. It was in one interview where I said a drone strike, which was asked, and there was a fleeting opportunity. There was some target way in the mountains with no collateral damage. That was the one they took permission. But I always was against the violation of sovereignty of Pakistan, and that is why they even asked for that. That is proof enough that they were not allowed to carry out drone strikes.
Still, drone strikes occurred in your final years of power.
7 or 8, yes, as I said. 8, I think.
And you gave permission to none of these drone strikes?
No.
Not a single one?
No.
What was your response then to Washington when these strikes occurred? These were, in your own words, a violation of Pakistan's sovereignty.
Yes, I still consider that there is a violation of sovereignty. My demand was that give the drones to us. We would like to use them ourselves, because nobody can accept a violation of sovereignty. That is correct. But as I said, now what was our reaction? My reaction was to quarrel with them, quarrel with Secretary Colin Powell. Why has this happened, etc. So I could only pressurize them to reduce, not to do drone strikes in Pakistan. And I must say that we managed, because they were confident that when I say you tell us, we will strike them. So why should they strike? We are going to strike. So now the problem is that we ignore realities. There are these terrorists who are there. There is Al-Qaeda there. And if we keep saying, no, there's no, only civilians are being killed, now that is, we are behaving like ostriches. That should not be done. We must, if we want to avoid drone strikes, if we don't want our sovereignty to be violated, we must act ourselves.
Still, drone strikes occur. You say that of the 7 or 8 that occurred while you were in power, you condemned each one of them. What was Washington's response to your complaints about these drone strikes?
I mean, they used to justify fleeting opportunity, we couldn't ignore them, etc., etc. Because after all, the drones were there giving us intelligence. And they used, but the pressure that I developed forced them to give some rationale, to give justification. But that was the pressure that I developed on them.
Do you believe that the military or intelligence agencies, or indeed the government, to this day still provides some approval to the drone strikes that we currently see in Pakistan?
I really don't know. I don't know. when people accuse me of allowing this and therefore they are continuing, I absolutely disagree with that. If at all, even if I had allowed, so who's telling you not to stop that? I mean, why can't you go back? Policies are never constant. You can say that we don't agree with this policy and they are not allowed now. So
Do you
this
think
is all
the government
nonsense.
is playing a double game while publicly condemning drone strikes but privately approving them?
Possibility, I don't know. That's what some people say, but I wouldn't be able to, because this is not my personal knowledge.
I want to talk to you about the current state of affairs for you. You have been bailed in all the criminal cases that you've been embroiled in. You were held under house arrest here in this house, confined to only a few rooms for over 7 months. You are now free. You are allowed to travel around the country, but you are not allowed to leave Pakistan. Now, you've applied to go to Dubai to visit your elderly mother. That permission hasn't been given yet. Do you still want to leave Pakistan?
I want to be a free man. I mean, I would like to contradict anyone who says I should go and not come back, or anyone who says I should not go back, go out at all, I should remain here and fight it out. I certainly will fight it out, but I want to be a free man. I want to go and come as I wish. There are lectures, I was on a lecture circuit in the past, dozens of lectures I was giving all over the world almost. I would like to continue with those lectures and go out, and my mother is there, certainly. She is going to be 96 next month. I would like to certainly meet her and look after her. So, but that doesn't mean that I want to go and not come back. I want to be a free man to travel to and from Pakistan.
So if you are granted permission to travel abroad, you will return to face these cases?
Yes, yes, indeed. The cases will go on. I would like to see, why did I come back? The cases were there. Why did I still come back? Because I am being declared an absconder, arrest warrants being issued against me. So what am I running from? Why am I a fugitive? Having done so much for this country and for the people of Pakistan, given it socio-economic progress and looking after improving the living standards of the people of masses of Pakistan. Having done all that, what am I running from? For doing so much for Pakistan and its people? So I came back on my own, understanding everything, and these cases had to be dealt with in the courts of Pakistan, whether I like that or not. Justice has to be done, that is a different matter. But I had to fight the cases in the courts of Pakistan, whatever their distortions. So I thought I must come back and face everything and clear my name for once for all, so that I am free to travel anywhere.
You no doubt had an awful lot of time to think about some of the challenges you faced, and indeed of the years that you were in power. When you look back at that time, do you have any regrets?
No regret. I am proud of whatever I did for Pakistan, but my regret is what followed. I mean, we were in 1999, we were a failed state, and we had technically defaulted. Each and every socio-economic parameter was going down the ground. In 2006, we were declared one of the next 11 socio-economically vibrant country of the world. This is where we went up. And now we are again almost a failed and a defaulted state. So my regret is this. Knowing that the country has all the potential and resources, yet we are not doing well. This is my regret. I know we can do it, yet we are not doing it. Poor leadership, poor governance. So this is my regret. So what followed 2007 is my regret.
So you have no regrets about your time in leadership?
Not at all. I did so much for Pakistan. I mean, why should I regret? I am very proud of it, that I did so much for my country and my people.
Are you hopeful for the future of this country, a country that you very likely will never play any kind of leadership role in?
Well, I am very apprehensive of where we are going. But having said that, I have confidence in this country and its people. And that confidence takes me that we will ultimately find a solution to our problems. We have to find a solution. That is my confidence, because the country has the resources and the potential. So we can put our act together and I have hope in that.
Pervez Musharraf, thank you for talking to Al
Thank you.
Jazeera. We
Thank
appreciate
you
your
very
time.
much.